back. You've joined riders from the HOG Auckland Chapter as we're heading back to Auckland by the Thames Coast Road. This is the aftermath of a ride that we had to the Coroglen Tavern, a joint ride with the Waikato and East Coast HOG chapters, and which was covered in an earlier video. And this is the return journey. Now this particular one, it's your lucky day if you're looking for a long video, because this one for my channel is definitely it. It's around 30 minutes plus, and this is going to be covering the entire length of the Thames Coast Road, travelling from the northernmost part at the very beginning, Wilson's Bay, which we just passed when we came off the hill there, and then travelling all the way along through the various settlements through into the just lower part of Thames itself. So hope you enjoy it. Let's see how that goes. I'll throw in some commentary along the way, but for the most part this is a gorgeous scenic day. The weather was amazing. This was filmed late September, and I'll just let the ride speak for itself. Sometimes I do enjoy myself just to sit back and watch a ride unfold, and this is just such a video. Some parts of the coast road where you know you're going to be coming in for a tight squeeze, and one of those clues is the disappearance of the centre line, which is something that happens just up ahead, and you can see the road narrows down to pretty much a single lane, which can be a little bit alarming if you're in anything larger than a motorbike. If you're in a car, a van, or God forbid a truck, you know that you're going to have to be on alert the whole time through here, because there's not a lot of room for manoeuvre and not a lot of forgiveness for errors of judgment, so to say. I think I might have mentioned in one of my earlier videos, I don't know which one, but I was talking about the Thames Coast Road and how this particular road used to be something of a nemesis for me as a kid, because as a family we used to travel up to Coromandel all the time from our home in Auckland to visit my grandparents. We'd stay there for the school holidays, and the way to get there was along the Thames Coast Road, and it was a pretty awful, horrifying trip for me. I got pretty terribly car sick as a young lad. No longer suffer from that, but I didn't make this trip very easy for anybody else in the car at all. It took twice as long as probably needed to, because of all the stops that were required to clear my little head. Anyway, I'm glad that's behind me, but I still remember some parts of this road, walking the bloomin' beaches along here. Yeah. Not good times, I tell you that. Travelling along, there's probably half a dozen, maybe 10 of us riding along here. I'm second in the queue behind the road captain, and we're still adopting usual riding practice. You can see the leg go out here, signalling loose dirt on the road, bit of gravel. So it's always good that that signal is then passed down the line. I would also have been signalling with my foot, left or right, depending where the obstacle might be, so that the rider behind me is also aware of something coming up. Now, it's also, of course, your own responsibility to look out for the road, make sure you're not going to be riding into a hole or skidding yourself out, but the rider in front is always going to have a clear view, and hopefully will have the time to react and point out to the riders behind them that something's coming up. And that's generally how we like to ride as a HOG chapter. Coming up around the corner here, there's traffic jam. Not on the road though. If you look over to the right, boats. There's so many people out on their boats this day, and they're having to queue up and take turns waiting for the boat ramp to get their boats out of the water. Didn't really expect that, but I suppose it makes sense. There's so many people out. The weather was fantastic. This was late September, this particular day, and the weather was top notch. So everybody thought at once, let's get out in the boat, which is fine until everybody decides to come back all at the same time. You can only haul 1 or 2 boats out at a time on the boat ramp, so consequently you get a bit of a traffic jam on the water there as people are trying to return home, hopefully with a few buckets full of regulation caught fish. Some of the road signs in our national roading system are sometimes frankly optimistic, and I'm pointing out a sign here, 100 kilometres an hour. Yeah, good luck with that. Not on this piece of road. Maybe a little bit round the corner, but yeah. I've seen many roads that should have been 100, maybe even 110 kilometre an hour limit posted, that have been slipped back to 40 and 60 kilometres an hour. This road, 100, yeah, okay. You can, but is it a good idea? Yeah, most of the time not. Anyway. As we enter into Tapu on the Thames Coast Road, we're about to pass by the Royal Oak Hotel, where we spot a few of our riding buddies who were with us at Coroglen, stopping for a break at the Royal Oak Hotel. Hey fellas. There had been a lot of rain in these parts before we came through on this particular weekend, and which had caused the road or the hillsides, particularly up ahead, to have slipped quite a lot. You can see a lot of fresh soil, clay that's just really split onto the road. They've cleaned it up now nicely, but there's still a few clay patches around on the road. As we're coming through today though, the road is really dry, so there's no real threat to life or limb from all of those spots there. But if it was wet and rainy, it'd be a different story. It'd be a little bit slippery. We'd have to take extra special care. But as it turns out, it's just usual caution, but nothing out of the ordinary. We're entering the township of Waiomu on the Thames Coast Road, and along here there's the Waiomu Beach Cafe, which is a very popular spot with us if we're doing the Coromandel Loop run in a clockwise direction. It's a pretty popular spot. There's parking at a reserve across the road and also along the roadside directly opposite the cafe. The coffee and the food is good. It's right here on the left. You can see a group of bikers already in there. No stopping for us. We're continuing with our run, making for home. mentioned it till now, but I should mention it before we finish with this ride. The body of water to the right-hand side that's been on our right the whole way through, it's of course the Firth of Thames, and that's the body of water that separates the inland coast here of the Coromandel Peninsula through to across the other side is the Miranda coast and the main body of the North Island. closer to Thames, and I'm going to summarise now. If you're still watching this, well, thanks for sticking around. Hope you've enjoyed it. Personally, I quite enjoy just watching riding videos where there's nothing but riding. There's a couple of channels that I follow that are showing harley-davidsons riding around through the Swiss Alps, and there's really nothing but riding, no commentary, no nothing. 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and I find myself just getting caught up in it and just watching, and time just disappears. So hopefully you found a little bit of that as well with the, not quite the Swiss Alps, but anyway, the Thames Coast Road. Some of you might have travelled on it before. Some of you might be now wondering, maybe I should travel on it. In any event, it hasn't changed so much. Well, it's certainly changed for me from when I was a little kid. I'm no longer feeling sick on the thing. And there's not much in the way of gravel on it. A little bit of clay here and there, but generally speaking, the road's in good shape, and it's an enjoyable ride, whether you're heading in a clockwise or anti-clockwise direction. Well, as we're now coming to the outskirts of Thames, we've well and truly finished with the Thames Coast Road. I'll wrap this up. If you've enjoyed it, I hope you have, then please like and consider subscribing. It's free and it really helps the channel. And for all you riders out there, take care on the roads. Ride safe, have fun. See you next week.